My name is Abby James, and in this video I'm going to be demonstrating how to do a complete urinalysis. I have my sample already in the tube here. We did not have the 10 ml tube, so this is just a 6 ml tube, and I already have my sample collected. I have like a small portion of the sample here to put on a urinalysis test strip, so that is what I'm doing now. I had already noted that the color is kind of dark. It's not horribly dark to the point where it would be like a horrible, concern, but it is a little darker than normal. The odor was kind of strong. It wasn't like fishy or horribly strong. It was just kind of a stronger urine smell, and it did seem pretty clear as I checked it the first time. So I'm going to place a drop on each of the little squares on the strip. Okay, and I'm going to let that sit for 1 minute. So I'm gonna go ahead and discard this because I have plenty of sample here, so this could be discarded. And we're just waiting to let that sit. And actually, while I'm waiting, I'm gonna do a quick foam test. So I'm making sure this is secure, and I'm gonna give it a good shake to make sure that there are no proteins in the urine. And as you can see, there's just a little thin layer of foam at the top. Nothing it's not too foamy, it's not like full of foam or anything like that. So that looks pretty okay. Okay, and I'm just going to empty all of the urine off of the strip. And I have gotten one of the urinalysis sheets, so I'm going to use the squares on the back of the bottle to read the strips. So I made sure to add the patient's name at the top, and the account number and the date. So it is Thursday, July 7th. Okay, so I have went ahead Okay, I am going to draw a drop of urine and place it on the refractometer. So I am just gonna make sure that this is clean and there's no debris. Okay. Okay, and I'm gonna hold that up to a light source. And that is reading 1.020. So I'm gonna make a note of that on the sheet. Okay, and as you can see here, I have two specific gravities. The first one had came off the urinalysis strip. The second one is from the refractometer. I made note of both of those because sometimes the urinalysis test strips are not very accurate, and the refractometer does give a more accurate results of the specific gravity. Okay, I am going to put this in the centrifuge and let that spin. Now that my sample has been centrifuged, I'm just going to pour off the fluid at the top. Okay, and I'm going to loosen the button at the bottom. There is not much of a button in the urine, but there is a tiny little one, so and I'm going to grab a little pipette. And I've got my microscope slide here and my cover slip. And I am going to place a drop on the slide. And I'm going to add my cover slip. And I am going to place the microscope on 10x. And in this sample, there was no specific reason other than just a routine check for a urinalysis. So I am not looking for anything in specific, but I am checking for any cysts or crystals or anything that might be a concern. So I am not hoping to find anything here. And I started in the bottom left corner of the slide, and I'm kind of making my way up. And you also can use stain for these slides and looking into a urinalysis, but I chose not to today. Okay. Now I am going to switch the microscope over to 40x just to make sure there are no cells in the sample. And again, I'm starting from the bottom left corner and I'm kind of making my way over and up. Okay, and in the sample, there were no crystals, no any kind of cells that should be noted. And I'm going to make note of this in the patient's